The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 7th day of October, 2021. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Linda's. I'm Jamal Hartman, along with Michaela Ian and Leanna Limbert, who will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break. Did I say Limbert? Leanna Lambert, I should say. Lambert. Lamb, not limb. Lamb, not limb. Sorry, I got to practice this stuff, folks. With her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. How are you today, Kales?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to the weekend, but I'm good.
Notice I said Michaela, not Makilla. So I've got your name down.
I mean, I would like to think that you know how to pronounce my very phonetic name.
Yep. And I'm
pretty straightforward. Yeah. So, but no, I'm good. So of course my kids go to Bermuda Institute, and Bermuda Institute resumed on Monday. And one of the criteria of the school reopening was testing twice a week. So all the parents had to go yesterday, collect our at-home tests. And so it's the rapid antigen test. I'm not sure if I'm saying antigen correctly. And so you do it at home. And so I did it on Amari first, my oldest one, 2 seconds. Javi, good Lord. Because it's like a swab, right? I mean, you don't go deep. You just do
has not done.
Oh my goodness, this is gonna tickle. This is terrible. Why can't you just do it in my cheek? Why? I'm like, dude, you're 4.5. Just stop. And I looked at him. I said, do you want to go back to school or not? Do you want to go to school tomorrow or not? Well, yes, of course. Let's go then. Let's do it. And then I had to do this one. I had to go, don't you want to go on the plane? Yes, of course. I said, well, you have to do a test to get on the plane.
I see what you did
fine, there. Mommy. Listen, got to do what you got to do. Got that test done.
I see what you did there. Yeah.
But that'll be twice a week for the rest of the school year. So we'll see how this goes.
So basically, you were one of those willing parents that said, "Oh, I have no problem with my child."
And I paid for the test.
Okay.
Out of pocket, paid cash money. Yes, no problem.
Leading by example.
Listen, we got to do what we got to do.
Indeed. And good morning to everyone. And thanks for making us part of your daily routine. We continue our conversation on mental health. It is Mental Health Awareness Week. Today we have Rebecca Fisayo on, and she will be joining us for a conversation about adult mental health. So really important conversation. And thank you for all of you who've supported Miss Crary, Gwendolyn Crary, and Kathy Souza thus far. Should be another interesting combo today. But before we get to that part of this show, there's some other things happening, and let's just jump right to it. So
yes,
basically, as we know, different countries are putting in different restrictions or stipulations as to who can travel to their jurisdictions. And a lot of it is dependent on vaccination status. Obviously, we know the United States and Canada. I believe it's as of November 1st for the United States. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's early November.
Early November. You basically need to provide proof of vaccination to travel into the United States. But there's another side to this, and obviously the United States isn't the only country on the face of the earth, but there are countries to the south of Bermuda in the Caribbean who have some have implemented rules and some haven't. And Michaela shared this article, and Kales, if you want to just touch on it, but some certain countries are actually seem to be doing better based on this report, due to asking for proof of vaccination.
Yeah, I found this really interesting. It popped up. I can't remember where it popped up for me, but I immediately clicked it because, we're technically considered Caribbean and our passenger numbers are not where they were 2 years ago. So I was like, let me have a browse of this. So basically the gist of the article is that vaccinated and unvaccinated travelers are going to different sets of Caribbean islands. And that really made me go, this is interesting. So basically, there are about 7 Caribbean nations and territories that have announced mandatory vaccination policies. These include Anguilla, Grenada, St. Barth, St. Kitts and Nevis, Trinidad and Tobago, Turks and Caicos, and the Cayman Islands. So what's happening in these islands is that they're having an increase of travelers. So Grenada is up 25%, St. Kitts and Nevis is up 26%, Cayman Islands is up 44%, and Anguilla is up 59%. And a lot of these islands, especially in Anguilla, because Anguilla was ahead of everyone in terms of getting staff vaccinated. So you go to these upscale luxury resorts and everyone's vaccinated. Every single person at the resort is vaccinated. So what I found really interesting was that a lot of luxury travelers are saying, you know what? I actually much prefer to go somewhere with very strict protocols where they're only letting in vaccinated tourists, because then I can have a safer vacation. I don't have to worry on my vacation about, if I go here. I mean, obviously vaccinated people can still have COVID, and most of these places do require a test on arrival. But it was just interesting to me. So they interviewed this woman, and she says here that she was going to go to Mexico. But she found it scary to visit a country with few restrictions. So she says, I'm vaccinated and would love to go to an island that only allows vaccinated people in. So there is a certain market that is only visiting islands where vaccinated people are, only vaccinated people. So islands with less strict policy. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to actually, you just started saying it. Go ahead.
So islands with less strict policies, such as the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, the Bahamas, USVI, they have an entrance policy that's relying on testing rather than vaccines. And so interest to the Dominican Republic was high pre-vaccine, and now it's gone down.
Interesting.
So it's very interesting.
So I guess the question to the audience this morning, based on that, the results that what Michaela just shared is, would you feel more comfortable traveling to destinations where vaccines are required? Do you feel like, okay, you know what? They have proof of vaccine. I'm going to be in a safer space. I'm going to go there. How do you feel about whether obviously you can only travel to places where vaccines are approved or required, if you have the vaccine, right?
Of course.
For those who are not vaccinated, is it going to stop you from traveling places, like certain places, like I think Dominican Republic, the article on CNBC says that they just require testing, right? So what are your thoughts on that? Would you feel more comfortable traveling to destinations where vaccines are required, or are you okay saying, you know what? No, I'll just take the test and go to wherever?
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's really interesting because this is the way that the world is turning. This is the way that it's going. And so for me, we're planning to go away later this year over Christmas. And I'll be frank, we're looking at Florida right now. And
come on down.
A friend of mine put up a post the other day, and she was like, you can practically see the COVID in the air in Florida. But then she goes, but I'm going to Miami Carnival anyway. And I was just like, oh dear Lord.
Yeah.
Dear Lord.
Florida is an interesting state. I just found it fascinating that some Bermudians will look into Florida as an example. But what I would say what I would say is, again, the squeeze is on. And I think when many corporations and companies quietly, silently, tell people they need to be vaccinated, there are a lot of people that are silently doing it. Not to get off topic, but just the other day, there was a report that Bermuda's vaccination rates have increased. And Michaela and I, we were having a private conversation, and she doesn't mind if I shared her because she doesn't care. Neither do I. But
Nope.
she pretty much said, it's crazy that people will get vaccinated just to travel to the U.S. but wouldn't do it to save, for the safety of their friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
I say that, folks, because to answer the question, I'll answer it first. Would you feel more comfortable traveling to destinations where vaccines are required? At the end of the day, you want to go where you feel safe. Now, this is not a debate whether or not the vaccine is safer than those who are not vaccinated. At the end of the day, if someone feels safer because the majority of the people are vaccinated and that decreases not necessarily the risk of you getting COVID, but the risk of hospitalization, if it decreases the risk of death, then I think most sensible people will probably do that. Would I still travel to a place where vaccines are not required? I will. I would, personally. I would. Would I take the necessary precautions? Absolutely, I would.
Yeah.
But I can understand why people would feel more comfortable. James Birch says, yes, he would feel more comfortable traveling to a place that is requiring proof of vaccination.
And I mean, we have to remember, we have to lump the U.S. into that as well now. Because the U.S. is requiring. I booked a plane ticket because I'm going to be traveling next month. And the travel agent immediately wrote me back and she said, please ensure that you get your PCR test. And please note that the U.S. is only accepting vaccinated travelers as of the first week of November. And I said, thank you so much. I'm good.
Just traveling 9 months. She didn't invite me, so she didn't tell me nothing. And Michelle White says, not ready to travel yet, but yes, would prefer vaccinated locations. Caller, John Kills.
It's too risky to travel to places without strict vaccine mandates. If I get sick overseas, it will be very expensive and inconvenient. Yeah.
Indeed. What are your thoughts, folks? Would you feel more comfortable traveling to destinations where vaccines are required? And what are you like? I already know what your answer is going to be, but I'm always interested in hearing the logic behind what you're saying, Michaela.
I mean, for me, I'm thinking about it in terms of, as a foreign national, I'm going to another place. And like Carla John said, this is my thought process. If I were to get sick, it's very expensive to be treated in hospital in a foreign place. Not to mention, if I'm traveling with my family, it's going to be costly for my family to stay with me or costly for them to change tickets and return home. So when I'm thinking about it in terms of I would like to have a good time but still be safe, then yes, I would prefer that. So like looking at the list, I mean, Jamaica has had a lot of issues in terms of curfews, lockdowns, etc. So for me, looking at different islands, yeah, I think that I would feel considerably more comfortable going to somewhere where I know everything is safe. And I feel like I talked about this a couple months ago about Anguilla, but they've done an excellent job, excellent job. They have been very strict, very this is what we're doing. Everybody's vaccinated. I think they call it certified safe or something, certified safe resort, certified safe taxi drivers, certified safe excursions. And that appeals to a certain kind of traveler. And it's a certain kind of traveler that Bermuda always wants, but yet we're not getting them. So it's interesting.
It'll be interesting to see if Bermuda changes things in weeks to come. It's hard to be critical of the government for the way they've handled this, but there's obviously things you look at and say, yeah, the government got this wrong. They could have done this better and whatnot. And, I haven't hid my feelings of how the government has handled this, the Bermuda government. But what I will say is, when you look at Cayman Islands and other islands, how they've done it, I do wonder what Bermuda was following versus what some of these islands followed.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I do question that because at the end of the day, I think the premier and his government have realized by now whatever they did was going to upset the people. So, I mean, why not just do what was probably going to be best rather than trying to please them? Let's go to the comments. Again, folks, would you feel more comfortable traveling to destinations where vaccines are required? Yes or no? Rick Olsen Kills.
The islands are in the off season right now and showing great numbers, so they are very prime for a great tourism season. We are killing our tourism business, and unfortunately, many locals are dying from COVID. What are we doing wrong? Yeah. When you have islands to our south with increases, but ours are on a decline, you have to think, what are we doing wrong and what can we learn? How can we fix this quickly?
Ramon Smith says travel insurance works. Not sure what that's in reference to, but it definitely does help.
I think in reference to, if you get sick abroad and have to change things, you have your travel insurance, you can.
Got you. Thank you for the clarity. Karen Simmons says, I don't know if I would say comfortable, but for me, it's my safety, and I will abide by what the country requires for health and safety of its visitors and residents. Elizabeth and Kimberly Kills.
Mm-hmm. The government here is too scared to ruffle a couple feathers and make the tough decisions to get our tourism up and running. Mandates are inevitable. When will they happen? Thank you. Thank you. It's so bizarre to me.
I think, again, Elizabeth, we're on the same page in that respect. As I just stated, like I think the government was so afraid to upset people, but it was always inevitable that you were going to upset people. You've got to govern for what's in the best interest of people. And I know people are, and don't take this the wrong way. Mm-hmm. I don't want people to think I'm a dictator or whatnot, but this is the challenge with democracy sometimes, because sometimes people don't know what's in their best interest, especially uneducated population on politics. And when I say uneducated, I'm not saying they're not smart people, but we're all uneducated in some respect, right? Mm-hmm. We're all ignorant in some way. But what I believe is we are not educated on how to deal with a pandemic. We just aren't. We don't deal with pandemics regularly, right? This is a once in a generation thing. And so I think it was always going to be people upset at whatever the government did. And I think the government caved and did not lead when it was necessary, when leadership was most critical. And so again, I don't envy the position that Premier David Burt's in. Like this is a tough situation to be in, but you chose to be the premier during this time. Now people say, oh no, he didn't, he was elected.
No, he did. He chose.
My friends, this man called an election in the middle of a pandemic to maintain his position. So you have to do the job that you wanted to be in. And so like look at the Turks and Caicos, look at the Cayman Islands. When I look at comparative places, I think of those two islands in particular, maybe Anguilla as well. Mm-hmm. What are they doing right that we got wrong? And once you figure that out, then you start to make moves to right those wrongs and get your country and your people in a better position. Can I get an amen?
Amen. Listen, I've been trying to go to Anguilla for like 4 years now. It's still at the top of my list. And so knowing that I will be safe and around vaccinated tourists and locals and so forth, sign me up. Let's go.
All righty. Kimberly Jackson and Sam Cat plays Kills.
Yes, I'm currently in the US and it's a safer option. Still have to wear a mask and sanitize hands. I'm interested in that because I'll be traveling to the US and I'm a little funky about it. So I like that she says that.
All right, Sam Cat.
No diss to Florida or anything. Sorry. The comfort level is all about what you do to keep yourself safe.
I agree with that. I at the end of the day, I believe I'm a bit responsible, and that's not to say I'm perfect, but I try not to put myself in positions that are gonna put others in jeopardy. So even though I'm vaccinated, for instance, that doesn't mean let's just go out to an all-out party and crazy or not take any precautions. Like there are places I go, and you all know I don't like wearing masks. Like I just don't. But there are times where I'm the only one with a mask on of like a few hundred people in spaces I'm in. And I'm okay with that.
Same. Like I will happily just be the person wearing the mask and be like, I'm good.
I don't like it. Miriam Simmons Kills.
I applaud the Caribbean for taking a stand. Mind, I'm not traveling anytime soon, but Bermuda needs to do something better. Yes.
Carla John.
I had no idea Bermuda had so many conspiracy theorists. Carla, it is wild. Okay. I wonder if these other islands had the same pushback against the vaccine. Probably. Probably.
Well, Ralph Barrow says, yes, Bermuda needs to get on board with allowing vaccinated travelers only for the safety of us and others. Well, I think it's coming. I don't know for sure, but I believe something may be coming down because Bermuda is going to be in a position where it has no choice. So we will keep an eye on that because once the US and Canada does it, and those are the two main places people travel in and out of, Bermuda literally just has to follow suit. So I think you're in it. But yes or no, folks, yes or no, you don't have to explain yes or no. Would you feel more comfortable traveling to destinations where vaccines are required? Yes or no? Let's bring Leanna into the convo, see what the Leaster's up to. Good morning, Lee. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm wonderful. How are you guys this morning?
Hey, Lee. Oh, good. Look, we're like doing a thing. So my pattern is your shirts. Yeah.
There you go. See?
What is it? Green?
Yeah. It's like an olive green, and this is green.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's all just working.
It's working. It's working for us. That's all that matters.
White shirt, huh?
Do you see white, green,
Yeah,
green?
I'm in here somewhere.
It works.
Forgot about me. All right. So we've got we asked the question, would people feel comfortable going to vaccinated destinations? And Chica Reyna says yes. Nachika Trot says no. Carol Griffith says yes. And Sherilyn Russell says, oh no, bad reception. What does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
You know what I think that means? So, folks, obviously there's been some issues with Facebook, but about 40 people just dropped off just now watching live. And I'm probably that was on Facebook. But if that's the case, folks, honestly, I'm going to plead with my friends on Facebook. Lee is laughing because she knows what I'm going to say. Folks, please go to YouTube and subscribe. Just subscribe. It's very easy.
It's just as easy as Facebook.
Yeah, but no, one of the challenges one of my friends said yesterday, he says, yeah, but I didn't know YouTube was as interactive, like you can comment and speak. Yes, folks. Yes. Come over to YouTube. It's the same thing. Yes, someone did say broadcast was interrupted. Look, folks, go to YouTube. Just go to YouTube. It's very easy. I'll put the link there for you. All right. I'm going to put the link there for you. With that said, Lee, when was the last time you traveled?
Ooh, it was last year, February, March, and I went on a work trip to the Honda Classic in West Palm, Florida.
Folks, she ain't hit me up.
She didn't.
I didn't. I wasn't on the show then, though. Seriously.
But you knew me.
I did know. But yes, that was the last time I traveled. So yeah, I'm on, what is this, 18, 19, almost 20 months.
So yeah, I'm on 19 months, and it's going to be rectified very soon.
Michaela, you haven't left Bermuda in 19 months?
No, this is probably, I could not tell you the last time that this happened.
Hold on. I'm sorry to prolong this convo. If you know Michaela, folks, 19 months.
Listen, I'm always on a plane. And you know what I did? I ordered one of the Gold Label's new duffels to celebrate my first trip.
I love it.
I sure did, because I'm ready.
Wow.
I'm ready. So I'm going to be in November. I'm going to be in December. I'm like, yes, let's get it. I feel safe now.
I'm feeling that energy.
Look, folks, when this shuts down, you will see us all together somewhere. We're not going to say where, but we'll be doing something. So once this calms down. So we do have some new YouTubers, people that are over on the Tubester. We have Dexter Smith, our good friend, saying, making my YouTube debut.
Very
nice. Sheen switched over. So folks, yes, go to YouTube. Or you can go on our website. We are over on YouTube. And let's just go one more before we get to Leanna and the news break. So Dexter Smith says, answer to the question, yes. Also, the sooner we are required to be fully vaccinated to travel anywhere, the better. Oh, it's coming. And I'll just say this, folks. If you love to travel, you're going to have no choice. If you want to travel, you're going to have no choice. I'm going to say it. I know you all don't agree with it. I don't necessarily agree with it, but it's not about me. Let me repeat that. It's not about me. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we got to do. I had to get my shots updated when I went to college. Didn't want to do it, but kind of wanted that degree for some reason.
Hello.
Lee, it's time for the news break. You got some good news for us?
I do. Yes.
All right, time for the news break. Brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Over to you, Lee.
Thank you, Michaela. Good morning. And I want to say a happy Throwback Thursday to everyone tuned in with us. If you're deciding to take a trip down memory lane today, please enjoy it. I hope everyone is having a great start to their day. I'm Leanna Lambert, and it's time for our daily hour news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. So here's what's going on in today's top stories. The Senate officially passed legislation which will allow more long-term residents of the island to obtain permanent residency yesterday. Now, last week we had reported that the amendments opened a route to residency for non-Bermudian divorced people and unmarried parents of Bermudian children who have spent more than 15 years on the island. The legislation also expanded on provisions that allowed permanent resident certificates for children born to second generation PRC holders who live in Bermuda. Now, PRCs are available to non-Bermudians who have spent more than 20 years on the island for a $10,000 fee. The overall consensus of the senators were that the government had struck the right balance and that the legislation was fair. In other news, COVID-19 has sadly claimed 5 more lives, it was revealed last night. The news brought the death toll from the coronavirus to 87, but the island's number of active cases dropped drastically with just 36 positive results out of the more than 3,000 tests that came back to health officials since the last update. Now, the number of people in hospital is 49, 10 of them in intensive care. These latest results brought the positivity rate down to 1.1%. Meanwhile, Health Minister Kim Wilson said that the vaccine booster program is to begin this weekend, and 11,700 vaccines are due to arrive from the UK today. She said that vaccine boosters will be made available to rest home residents and staff on Saturday and delivered on Sunday to the hospital's vaccine center. Now, going forward, the hospital vaccine center will be issuing booster shots on Wednesdays and Sundays, while people receiving their first and second doses of the vaccine will continue to be able to walk in on Tuesday and Thursdays. A second vaccine booster center will open on the week of October 12th at the National Sports Center. The only people eligible at this time, however, will include those with weak immune systems, those over 65 and frontline healthcare workers, and people who have been fully immunized for the past 6 months. And a 46-year-old man, unfortunately, was injured in a motorcycle crash last month, has sadly passed away. Alan Trott suffered serious injuries in the crash on Ward's South Road near the junction with Dunscombe Road back on September 19th. Police say Mr. Trott died 11 days later in the hospital's intensive care unit. Mr. Trott marks the 12th roads fatality of the year. The other rider involved in the crash, a 21-year-old man from Pembroke, was treated for a broken arm. The investigation into the crash continues, and police have appealed for witnesses. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 81 and a low near 73 degrees. It is a bright start to the day with more clouds rolling in later this afternoon. Now, a weak cold front moves through this evening, followed by surface troughing on Friday. Fair weather will follow into Saturday, though a stiffening southeasterly breeze develops late in the weekend with a return to showers towards Sunday and Monday. That's all for our daily hour news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. But before we go, we want to leave you with a little helpful tip from your favorite community pharmacist. Now, avoid taking Advil or other anti-inflammatory tablets if you are asthmatic. It could trigger an asthma attack. Now, you can always talk to your trusted People's Pharmacist about your full medical situation. It could save you some pain and anguish. Now let's head back to Jamal and Michaela in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
Real quickly, we haven't spoken about this yet, but the PLP, are they out OBAing or UBPing or however it is them because of this immigration bill? Like, am I hearing that right? Like they've taken this bill that they marched against and had this big parade up on Parliament, and now they're moving forward. Like, maybe I need to read the bill because
I'm gonna just drink my coffee.
I swear the PLP had a parade against this bill.
I mean, there were
Yeah.
people screaming in my father's face because of this bill. That's all I'm saying.
I just remember parade. Anyway,
Mhm.
but,
Definitely a hot topic of discussion, maybe tomorrow.
yeah, because it seems that the PLP is definitely going to be opposition. But that said, Lee, thank you so much for that, and we will see you tomorrow.
See you guys tomorrow.
Alrighty,
Bye,
man.
Lee.
Being in opposition is different from being government. I tell you. I mean,
Listen.
what people want to hear in opposition, man. You got in government, just do what you want. Lie to get elected. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be back with our guest for the day, Rebecca Fisayo. We're gonna be talking about mental health. This is, man, we've had some good conversations this week, folks. Please, these are the kind of conversations we need to share. We have these experts on to assist us with information. Let's make the most of it. Stick with us.
Perrier water has been renowned globally for over a century and a half. Collected from a pristine ancient mineral water spring in the south of France, originally bottled in a green pear-shaped bottle and distributed in Bermuda by John Barrett & Son Limited, Bermuda's foremost beverage distributor, refreshing Perrier water is the champagne of mineral waters. This month we're featuring a refreshing, delicious spin on the original. Peach, strawberry, watermelon, l'orange, pink grapefruit, lime, cucumber, and regular Perrier water in 500 milliliter plastic bottles. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
All right, welcome back to the big show. She's Michaela Ian. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and our friends over at People's Pharmacy. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day, Michaela. We have Rebecca Fisayo coming on to speak about adult mental health. Yesterday, we had Kathy Souza. We spoke about school age, and prior to that, we had Gwendolyn Creary, and we spoke about early childhood. It seems like, and this was not my plan, but obviously the people at BHB are very intelligent, so we worked our way up to adult. Yes, I'm a little slow with that. Don't mind me, folks. Don't judge me. Do not judge me, bro. But look, I said to Michaela last night, Kales, I'm so sorry, I'm not prepared for tomorrow's show, but just such a great partner, cool, blah, 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 whatever. So, let's bring in Rebecca so you don't think I'm any more silly than I already am. And good morning, my friend. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Apologies about me being a little slow to catch on to things, but hey, we all can't be like Michaela, intelligent.
Oh, jeez.
But this is not your first time here. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on this platform. We really appreciate having people like yourself because it's the experts like you. Michaela and I can talk to the cows come home, but it's the experts like yourself who can actually provide more in-depth information based on your studies and what you know. But for those who aren't aware, just share a bit about your background and your expertise before we get into the convo.
Well, I'm a community psychiatric nurse, mental health nurse. With adults, I deal with adults. I've been in this field for over 16 to 18 years. I work at Maui, providing supports for adults who suffer from or need support with mental health issues.
All righty. And so Mid-Atlantic Wellness, what is it stands for? Institute?
Yes,
okay.
Correct.
Sorry, I heard you say Maui, and I was just
well, it's known as Maui, but it's Mid-Atlantic Wellness Institute.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry.
No, it's fine. So why do you feel it's important for us to talk about mental health in adults?
I think it's very important because given the current new state that we find ourselves with the pandemic, we feel that every help we need to maintain not just our mental, but also our physical health is important to get the word out there. It's promotion of physical and mental health well-being. And it so happens that this week is Mental Health Awareness Week, and our current theme is nature, making it part of our everyday life.
Absolutely. So how has the pandemic helped the mental health conversation become less stigmatized, or has it?
It has actually, because whether we're professionals or non-professionals, we're all in this, we're all experiencing the impact of the pandemic. It is new for everybody. And the issues, it's, the issues it has created, the isolation, being unsure of what it is, how it's going to affect, but more so the reduced interactions in terms of us going through the lockdown, also the loss of businesses. These are all new for everybody. So whether we are professionals or non-professionals, it's the same for everybody. It's a level playing field. And it has affected everybody because it is new. So it's very important. And I think it has brought to light the importance of what we have for so long taken for granted, being in the fresh air, having connections with our family that we're able to see. We've taken that for granted, but the pandemic has shown that actually these little things that we take for granted are actually important in maintaining both our physical but also our mental well-being. We all know that it has unfortunately brought on a lot of stress, a lot of worry, which for those who are predisposed to anxiety, those who are predisposed, or even those who are not, have actually gone through a process of worry, depression, which also has impacted in their ability to focus, impacted in the ability to do the job the way they used to do the job. Because we all have to now do things differently. A new normal, we're saying. Even although the pandemic is, we're saying we're in the second phase, we're all having to learn to work from home, be more savvy in how we do what we used to do. It has its benefits because it has shown that we can work differently. We don't all have to be in the same space to do what we do. But it in itself also has its drawbacks. And I think it's actually made mental health a common theme of discussion.
No, I like that you went to that, because like for me, I resumed, I used to do therapy before and then I stopped and then I resumed it last August. And that's what's really helped me tremendously, because dealing with the work from home, dealing with the kids, not being able to be around their friends, family, etc. Like it's a lot. And so I don't know if I would have been able to cope as effectively if I didn't have my biweekly appointment with my therapist, Do you feel that employers are sensitive to the fact that their employees likely are dealing with mental health issues as a result of the pandemic?
I think it's now becoming more prevalent that because it's now become I would say a normal thing to talk about. People are now being more open to say, listen, it's not easy, this thing, having to juggle so much, like you mentioned. Employers are now becoming more savvy to reach out. And I was pleased that the government, working with us, put on phone lines that people can call in, get support, and it's still going on now. That you can call in to get support, just to talk. You don't have to be receiving one of our services here at MWI. You can just call just to talk to someone and get support. And I know that, I think it has helped in making mental health less stigmatizing to talk about,
So what resources are available for adults who are struggling with their mental health right now?
Lots. Just call in. You can call into the acute clinic. The number is 249-3432. there is a clinic nurse that you can speak to, and that person would be able to listen to you and go through what needed support you would require. We also have currently we're doing the Decide the Skills. Because of COVID and the impact on social distancing, this now happens online. It is one of the educational group that we put on to help people cope with their emotions, how to manage your emotions so that the outcome is positive rather than the unhelpful outcomes. And that takes you through not when you have a triggering situation, rather than reacting impulsively. Take a breath, stop, get some help in rethinking on what is happening. What am I feeling? What am I thinking? Is there a different perspective? How can I react differently to this? If a friend of mine is going through this, what advice would I give to that person? Just having that pause and rebalancing yourself helps in your next reaction. So it becomes helpful for both the opposing party and yourself. And sometimes not reacting at all, walking away also helps.
Yeah.
Taking your time to process and think to yourself, is this a life or death situation? In 6 months' time, will this matter?
Yeah.
So, and it's so powerful, the non-reaction. Just being able to say, can I come back to you?
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's so powerful.
Absolutely. A friend of mine put up on Instagram last week, silence is an answer.
Yes, it is. A very powerful
and
one.
I was like, yes.
Noted.
Silence is an answer, or silence is a reply. I think that I can't remember the exact wording. And I was like, hallelujah, yes. So just finally, what would you say to encourage someone who is having mental health struggles right now to seek out help?
I am just going to say your last statement. Please call us. We are available. Your financial status does not matter. You will still receive the necessary support you need. Reach out to us any time of the day. We have a 24-hour crisis line, which is 239-1111. We're always available. Have a discussion. We can help.
And let's go to the audience. Audience, if you have any questions or comments, I'll try to get through as many as possible. Richard Olson says, the amount of new people I see on my job now suffering from mental health issues is scary. Economic stress is prevalent, but that's just scratches the surface on what many are going through. And then Karen Simmons, she actually has a question here. She's asking, have you seen an increase of adults seeking help through Maui and it becoming part of the norm of mental health?
Yes is the answer. We have seen a number of adults more seeking help. And actually, the fact that you're contacting us for help does not mean that following the support you receive means that you stay with us forever. Everything is reevaluated with you being in the driving seat. And so I would say that a lot of people, even just by calling and having a conversation with us here, a lot of adults have found just by having a conversation with the clinic nurse, with the evening night manager or the resource manager, discussing options, taking in nature, making nature. There are other ways of resolving worry. There are other ways of resolving depression without necessarily being part of Maui. And that is why I'm encouraging everyone to call, because you don't necessarily need to be on medication to resolve the mental health issue that you may have. So yeah.
I want to touch on, and I had this question for both Ms. Creary and Susan, but I didn't get to ask it as we had so many questions and comments coming in. But there was a whistleblower on 60 Minutes on Sunday regarding Facebook, and just mentioned how Instagram, they used Instagram, was harming young people, and so on. But someone I know had a post about Facebook just yesterday, and basically expressed that so many people they know have been going so hard with their beliefs over the pandemic and COVID itself, and they really feel like these people need to speak to someone. They need mental health. I'm speaking about regardless of what side people are on as it relates to the vaccine or whatnot. You see people like literally letting it take over their life and their minds. How can we help people like this, because they may not know that they need help? Like for me, conscription, when we were fighting that, it was draining. Like it was mentally and physically draining. And people think it's just about fighting things and you're a strong person, but it weakens you when you have to keep fighting. So that has become a part of what we're dealing with. People who feel so strong in their beliefs, but mentally, I mean, what advice would you give them?
I would say listen to what the source, what is factual, because most of what is out there are people's opinion. So I would say check things out before jumping on or carrying on other people's views. Compare it with factual evidence. Is this real? I was listening to, I believe it's last week, where the premier and the minister was, touching on this point, advising and actually educating everyone, members of the public, about what the vaccine actually is and why they are encouraging people to get the vaccine. So check things out. That's what I would say. Check things out before actually posting things or believing what people are posting.
I think
it's very important.
Yeah, I think the challenge is people don't. I think we're living in a time where people want to believe what they want to believe, and so it's
and they'll find things to support what they believe.
Correct. Like it's about finding things to support what they believe rather than finding out what's real or what's not. On that note, how about adults? And social media. Period. Like adults. Like there are adults that you read reports and saying they'll be put up a happy picture of themselves, but deep down they're suffering somehow. Like is there advice for people like that who put this persona out there, but really deep down they're suffering?
I think on some level we all do that at some times, where we carry a persona that things are okay when they really are not. And so I would say this is where it's important to know that you're not alone. The pandemic affects everybody. At some point in our lives, we all go through happy and not so happy times. We all rough it sometimes. So please reach out and get some help. Help is out there. It just takes you reaching out.
Yeah.
You don't have to reach out to us. You can reach out to your GP or talk to your friends. Talk to someone you trust. It may not necessarily be your family. It may be a friend. It may be a work colleague that you can confide in. Don't hold it in. The important thing is don't go through it by yourself, because then it makes it worse. Because in rough times, we tend to believe every thought that comes through our brain, which may not be necessarily true. And this is why it's important to share with someone who might be able to point you in the direction of the right support.
All right. And one last question. When we think of mental health, there was a time when people felt like, oh, that person's crazy, right? I think we're getting over that stigma.
Yeah.
But there's various types of mental health. There's, schizophrenia, there could be bipolar, there could be depression. Can you just give us some signs of what each one may be? Like, what is schizophrenia? What is bipolar? What is maybe depression? And how we can assist someone that we may notice signs in?
Putting it simply, I think the first sign is changing behavior, changing character. Regardless of what the diagnosis is, the first thing you would notice with anyone who is going through something is a change in their usual behavior or character. Someone suddenly who was outgoing, becoming quite isolative, introspective, not talking, not eating, not sleeping, very restless, or sometimes over talking, spending a lot of money, too happy, some people might say, or somebody just talking what is not real, talking a whole lot of, I want to say it doesn't sound factual, doesn't sound real. It doesn't make sense. That's the simpler way of putting it. All of these things I've mentioned, or someone fretting a lot, someone who is usually calm, collected, but now you see the person fretting a lot. All of these are all some kind of indicator that something is wrong. I've just gone through the common signs and symptoms that one would notice about anyone going through something. So for you to have schizophrenia or psychosis, we're looking at someone who is reporting, and you can see the person talking to themselves. We say you're talking as if you're actually seeing something, but the person is by themselves. Having a full-blown conversation with someone that is not there. Not just that, you can also begin to believe things that are not real. I believe I own the bank of, and you're preventing me from getting, so these are some of the signs. Sometimes you have very fixed belief, saying things that are not in keeping with reality. Those are also signs and symptoms of what someone who is going through schizophrenia or psychosis, we tend to use, may exhibit. For those with anxiety, you've gone through a lot of worry, excessive worry, not able to cope with anything. Not even, for some people, you might find that they are not even able to be in public, go shopping, or even the town center, go to Hamilton, or anywhere involving crowds. It causes, they may not even be able to leave their house. Someone who has confidence going to work, driving, doing things before, that person cannot do any of this. For depression, you find that their mood suddenly drops, becomes very low, not interested in anything. And for some, it may get to the point that they start expressing thoughts of wanting to end their life because they see no way out of how they are feeling and cannot go through life continuing to feel like that. Others may actually have and express thoughts of wanting to kill people. So these are also the stuff. You see someone who suddenly lost a lot of weight, sleeping a lot, not eating, not drinking well, adequately. So those are all not able to focus. Someone who is good at their job, and suddenly you see the standards dropping. Although they come to work every day like usual, but the standard of their performance or the quality of the job that they do suddenly drops. This is where it's everyone's business to look out for one another.
But I want to emphasize what you said to employers, right? Because this is important for employers, because it's not to say all employers do this, but we live in a time where people are pushed to the brink,
correct,
in a pandemic, and there's signs like you don't want to break people. I mean, there was a time when the Bermuda Regiment used to be proud of saying we're bringing young men up to break them, right? To make them men. Like, that's not how we should be treating human beings. And we are out of time, but Miriam Simmons is asking, can you just repeat the number real quickly?
Yes. So the acute clinic number during hours of 8 to 5 o'clock is 249-3432. The crisis line, which is the 24-hour support line, it's 239-1111.
All right, Rebecca Fisayo, thank you so much. This was another helpful conversation. Honestly, I said it to your other colleagues the two previous days. We would need to do this more often. These
Please.
conversations are extremely helpful for the audience. They are always well received, as Miriam Smith says. Thank you. This has been extremely helpful for me. But please do enjoy the rest of your day, and please continue to do the work that you do. It is appreciated.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You're very
Thank
welcome.
you.
Talk soon.
Bye, guys.
Alrighty.
Bye.
All right, folks, please give us a thumbs up, a love if you're on YouTube. Give us a like. Give us some of those. As Mark Arthur Phillips is saying, make sure you smash that like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you are good for future episodes. Sherry Berry says, very informative. Thank you. And Kristen Newsom says, thank you. We're going to take a quick break, folks. Do not go anywhere. We are about to stump. Oh, she's got
You just think you're on a roll this week. This is just fascinating to me. But go off.
She's got this one, folks. Don't go anywhere. Do not go anywhere. Stick with us.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio. Tune in every Tuesday through Sunday at 7 p.m. Bermuda time as we bring you the love, romance, sexiness with nighttime jams. Only on your station for conversations and entertainment. BCG Radio. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices.
All right, welcome back. Thanks again to Rebecca Fisayo. Folks, if you appreciated that information that she shared in the conversation, make sure you give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Folks, if you haven't already, make sure you download the BCG Radio app. You can actually listen to the show on there as well and listen to the best music all day throughout your day. If you have trouble on one social medium, make sure you're sharing the YouTube page so that people can understand that they can watch the show on YouTube as well. And you can go to our website, thedailyhour.com. Thanks again to Medical House, Lindo's, One Communications, and People's Pharmacy. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. Michaela, are you ready?
Born ready.
All right, folks, you know how this works. If you get the answer, which there are 5 this morning.
5?
For Michaela, you win something. Here we go. It's a name that place. What 5 states, 5 states border the Commonwealth of Massachusetts?
What 5 states border the Commonwealth of Massachusetts? Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Vermont. Is Vermont one?
Yep.
Maine. No, Maine's not one. Jesus. New York.
Yep. And one more.
And there's one more. Delaware. No.
So you got, let's go over it. You got New Hampshire, you got Vermont, you got New York, and you got Rhode Island. One more.
Oh geez. Connecticut.
Bingo! Yeah, she got it.
I had to really sit and think. I'm like, wait a second.
I'm like, come on.
I should know all these. I mean, New York is not New England, but everyone else is New England.
Yeah, correct. I was like, when you went Delaware, I'm like, come on, Kales.
No, I'm like trying to envision, and I'm like, wait, what am I missing? What am I missing?
She got it, folks. She got it.
I feel like that should be 5 points.
Rhode Island, Sam Cat plays. Providence isn't a state; it's a city in Rhode Island. But she got it. I'm like, she's gonna get this. She lived in Massachusetts for many years, right? So I said, let me say, I ran on when I was doing it. I'm saying the 5 states that border it, right? I said, I think she's gonna get it, but you did do what I thought you were gonna do. You did say Maine. I was like, she's gonna say Maine. She's gonna say Maine. I was like, she's going to say Maine as one of her answers, but I knew you'd get it.
Yes.
Yeah,
that was a good one because that actually, like, I had to be like, wait a second.
Because
I'm trying to think, like, what states, like, where was I able to drive to easily? Rhode Island, Connecticut, even though I remember that last. You come through New York. I'm trying to think, when I was in school in Michigan, we would drive down and you'd be in New York for 6 hours. Then finally you'd hit Massachusetts. So this is like how my brain works. I'm like, okay.
Carla John, who's always thinking the questions are easy, she's saying that was impressive. So she's impressed.
Thank you.
Yeah, she was impressed.
I thought you were going to say which 5 states border Mexico. And I was like, wait a second.
Write that one down.
That was a good one, though. That was a good one because it made me think.
Indeed. What are your thoughts on today's episode?
I really enjoyed the conversation. I think that we'd all be a bit naive if we think that Bermuda is this special place where, you know, you don't have to be vaccinated. It's fine. Yeah, but then you'll just sit here for the rest of your life. So like, if that's what you want, that's fine. But I just think the way that the world is turning, it's just going to be required for everything.
Indeed.
Yeah. And I love the conversation with Rebecca. I just think we have to keep top of mind that even if you don't have anxiety or you're not depressed or you might not, you know, be bipolar or have schizophrenia, that doesn't mean that you don't have mental health issues or aren't struggling with mental health issues. So I just want to remind people that it might not be extreme for you, but you still might need someone to talk to help you get through whatever it is that you're going through. Indeed. So don't think of it as, oh, I'm not a crazy person, I'm fine. And it's like, no, you're not fine, and that's okay.
Yeah. I would say this much about the vaccination. I see a lot of people who love to travel basically not getting vaccinated. And I think, and I say this, it ties into the conversation we've had about mental health. People who love to travel and just have to be out of Bermuda, I think you're going to struggle mentally if you don't get the vaccine, only because you have to travel. That's part of your sanity. That's part of your living. I hate that that's the position we're in.
Yeah.
But I'm not the law. I'm not the authority. So I really hope that people consider speaking with someone if that is the case and they refuse to get it. As far as Rebecca, I'm thankful to the Bermuda Hospitals Board for trusting our platform to have these conversations. And like I said, I'd like to have them more often because I don't quite think people understand what mental health is. For years, people looked at it as people being crazy, and it's not. It's literally just speaking to an expert, someone to who can assist you in your thoughts and your feelings. So folks, honestly, if you know someone or if it's you, just try to talk to someone. It can it doesn't necessarily have to be a professional. It could be someone that you're a religious leader or someone that you trust in that position, right? A guidance counselor, right? Kayla, you got some daily inspiration to send us off?
I sure do. This is from the esteemed Maya Angelou. You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have.
I like that one. I like that one. Send it over. Send it over.
Yes,
Thanks to our partners, Medical House One Communications, Lindo's, and our friends at People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you. We love you. And we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Michaela and I'm Jamal Hartman. My friends, please do make it a great day. Peace.
Deuces.